Everybody, welcome to another episode of Lucas Live. It is July 14, 2020. I don't know if you're watching this today live or you're watching this replay or you're watching this a year from now. Somebody just discovered us via podcast, via YouTube, via Lucas Live Media. And you're like, I've been watching this show and I've been enjoying it. And there's been great guests and great information, education, motivation, liberation. And you're loving it and you're binge watching. Welcome to the binge watch. We're excited about that. Other people who watch live with us, I know sometimes you can't watch all of it. You may have missed the beginning you may have missed this exact part. And you jumped in later, and now you're back to watch the rest of it. We welcome you. This is what we're doing right now in the beginning. We're welcoming you to the room. We're thanking you for sharing the broadcast. We're just excited about the moment. We're about to get into it. It's 8 a.m. Eastern time, and it is a great time for us to get up, get started, and get our morning going. I'm here to bring you education, motivation, liberation. I want you to learn something today. I want you to be motivated to do something with what you learned today, and I want you to be liberated, set free to live your best life, to be your best self, to do the things that can help save somebody else. Today's guest is going to share a real story. I mean, this is a deep story. I think it's in some ways a tough story, but she's an overcomer. She's not here today to make us sad with her story. She's here to inspire us with her story. She's here to let us know that no matter what you've gone through or what you've come through, you can be an overcomer. You can be successful. You can, make it out of any situation. And somebody out there today may have some of these things may resonate with them, and you may have never told anybody your story, and that's okay. Maybe you're not ready for that. But maybe today you'll be inspired to share your story. Maybe today you'll realize that there's others you could help. Maybe you won't do it on a big stage. Maybe you won't write a book like our guest did today, but maybe you'll share it with somebody one-on-one and let them know that you too have been through some difficult things, but you survived and you're an overcomer. That's what we're talking about here today. Good morning to those in the comments. I see you, Sarah Ray. Thank you so much for being here. Excited to have you. JJ Lilly, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. As you come in, we love your comments, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, LinkedIn. We welcome you to the show. Somebody out there in the business community on LinkedIn today, or YouTube or Facebook is going to see this wonderful guest today, and you're going to realize that you need to have her in as a speaker for your organization, for your youth group, for your girls group, for your women's group, for your something. She is a speaker. She is an author. She is an inspiration today. Maybe you're connected with a group or organization and you've gone to their events and you're like, they have great speakers. And they're looking for speakers, or you don't even know if they're looking for speakers, but once you hear this story today, you're going to tell them, hey, I don't know how you guys usually find your speakers, but I found one. Okay, today's the day. Erica, good morning. So glad to have you here. Janine, thank you for being here this morning. Miss Amanda Jean Duke, so glad to have you. Don, welcome to the show. We are excited. We love it when you guys make comments. I know some people are, you're half asleep. You're just getting up. You're tossing and turning. You haven't quite got that little bit of spackle, that little crust, the little eye boogie, little eye chip. You ain't got that out your eye yet. I hope I got out of mine because I'm all on the camera, right? And I've been up. I get up at 5 a.m, ladies and gentlemen. So forgive me. I got my little after workout. It got some caffeine in it. Little commercial for the post-workout, but I brush my teeth, so that tastes gross. But whatever, right? 5 a.m. workout, 5 to 6:30 a.m. Go to the gym, workout, come home, sit in my car for a few minutes, take a couple deep breaths. I don't know anybody else. I'm sitting in my car. I'm listening to the birds, and I'm like half asleep, and I'm like thinking like, okay, you got to get it moving here, buddy. You got to get in, get a shower. You got to get ready for your show. You got to get your overlays ready. You got to get your guest on. You got to send your links out. You got to check with your team and make sure things are good. That's how my morning starts every day, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope I got everything on my eyes. I got a shower. I'm ready to roll. But maybe, just maybe, I still got a little something in my eye. If you ever come on the morning show and you notice I got a little something in my eye, just be like, brother, you got a little something in your eye. Got a little something to the left. A little more to the left. A little more to the left. Just tell me where to go. Tell me how to get it. I'm going to get my eyes together, and I'm here for you. Okay? We got that kind of relationship. All right, ladies and gentlemen. My man, Mikey Bendis and Mr. Ric Flair, welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys. Yeah, I got that caffeine. Roger A. Jones Jr., so glad to have you. This is your first time on the broadcast. Please say first time and let us know where you're coming in from. We appreciate it. What's your city and state? Where are you at? If it's your first time as a guest here on Lucas Live, if you're a part of the audience, you're also a part of the show. That's the difference between this and other shows and other podcasts. You're a part of the recording of a podcast. That's what this is. This will be available as an audio podcast really soon. Amanda Jean Dukes, my producer. Shout out to her and Dukes Multimedia. If you're looking to start a podcast, she is here for you. Shout out to my man Aaron Dukes. I see you there as well in the comments. Right here, just put it on the screen here, Miss Amanda Jean Dukes. Check her out. Follow her. Dukes Multimedia. She can help you start your podcast, your video podcast, or other media needs. As long as you don't make her too busy to where she can't help me. She knew I was going to say that, and it's all good. Okay, so check her out. Betsy Springs, so glad to have you. Thank you guys for being here. Share this broadcast if you don't mind. Thank you, first time from Cincinnati, Dawn. We are so glad to have you. Judy, thank you so much for being here. I see your comments. I see your engagement. Sometimes you watch it on replay, but you're still with us. I see that. Thank you so much. We're excited about today's show, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody out there needs to see this. Text them, tag them, talk to them, okay? Let them know, all right, that this episode is important. There's somebody who may be going through something. Sometimes we know people, and this is going to be an important part, I think, of what we talked to Santoria about today. Sometimes people are going through something. We're worried that a loved one may be going through physical abuse, sexual abuse, be it in the home, family member, any number of things, right? And we don't know how to have those conversations, number one. We don't know how to ask the questions. Sometimes we're afraid to know. So we're burying our heads in the sand like, I don't know if I want to know. I think maybe, hopefully not. I don't think so. They would never do that. And we talk ourselves out of it. Also in the black community and black families, we have this what happens in our house stays in our house nonsense. And then people don't get the help they need. Sometimes people find out that something went on and they're just like, we're going to pray it away. And we go to church and we go up to one person at the front of the church and we quietly pray with them. And they're like, what is your need? And you're like, unspoken. We're just going through some stuff. And they're like, Lord, help them. Will God help you? Of course he will. But we got to talk about some stuff. We got to get some counseling. We got to get some help. We got to get some healing. Do broken crayons still color? That is the question of the day today. Can a broken crayon still color? Our guest today is going to help us answer that question. Somebody right now is broken from what happened to them in their past. Somebody is broken from what's happening in their present. Somebody is broken because they fear that something's happening to a loved one. Invite them to the broadcast. Share this. Even if you're watching by replay. If you're watching by replay, you can still share it even in the moment that you're watching it, okay? Or you can text somebody, tag somebody. If you're watching on YouTube and you hit share, it gives you the option to share it on other social medias, but it also gives you the option to send it as a text message. You can share it to groups. Maybe you're a part of a women's group or a men's group or a youth group. And right now on Facebook, you may have already shared it to your page, but you can go back and hit share again, and you can share it specifically to that group. So now it's not only on your page, it's in that group live right now. That group will wake up to it right now live. So we're really excited about it. Thank you guys so much. I see you guys. Roger, thank you so much. I'm Shewin CEO, Andromeda's husband. Looking at Roger, man, what a pleasure to have you here, man. I'm so excited to see you. My friend, my brother, Roger Jones Jr. So glad to have you, Andromeda's husband. So glad to meet you. Can't wait to meet you face-to-face, a Zoom call. We got to do something, brother. We're supposed to hook up soon. Ashanti Monroe, thank you so much for being here. It's a hard thing to recover from. Thank you so much for sharing. Latasha Ellis, thank you. So glad, so glad. Sarah Ray said, where's my sister? You're looking for my wife, lovely Corinne Marie. She's probably watching, maybe doing something. She was up when I was moving. She was moving a little bit. She wasn't all the way moving, but she was moving. So I'm guessing she's on the broadcast or watching, or maybe she's up and doing something else. I don't know, but I'm sure she's here with us. So you guys, I'm so excited. Again, thank you guys for the love. Thank you for the shares. Thank you, because this show is not about me. Lucas Live is not about me. It's about the great things that we talk about. Sometimes you're the guest. Okay, like this Thursday, we're going to do relationship talk. Who's the guest? You're the guest. We're going to answer your questions. Some people have already submitted their questions in the comments of the post I made yesterday. Some have inboxed me their questions. We're looking for your relationship questions. I do paid coaching and paid relationship training. And on Thursday, we're going to do some free relationship coaching, talking training. We're going to talk about the social media profiles a little bit. I gave posts and suggestions a few weeks ago about, thank you guys for your shares. I see you guys. Thank you guys. Here from Periscope. Thank you guys. I did some posts a week ago, last weekend, not this past weekend, the weekend before that weekend, and I was talking about social media profiles and how if you're single and you want to be dating or married, some tips that you could do to position yourself for that. I was a marketing major in college, so this is marketing. I'm going to teach marketing strategies. Marketing strategies have been working. There's stuff you're buying. There's stuff you're eating. There's some food you're eating right now that you don't want to eat. You've been done with Pepsi for 5 years, but you keep drinking Pepsi because they're marketing to you. You're their target. When you go on your social media, they're sending you ads that you're like, I was just thinking about buying some of those, and here come those things right there. It's the weirdest thing. And you're like, my phone is listening to me. They're paying attention to you. They're tracking your data. They're watching what you're looking at. They know what you look at on Google, and they show it to you on Facebook. It's called Facebook Pixel. It's tracking you. Google's tracking. Everybody's tracking you. But what they're doing is trying to market to you. So how do you market yourself if you're a single and position your brand so that you attract your target market? Not just any old bum. Will some random bums come into your DMs? Probably. But I want to help you guys position yourself for that. I have a live training this Saturday, July 18th, for singles who are preparing. Thank you those who have signed up and already paid. If you want more information, let me know. I'm going to be putting some more information out this week. I'm also doing LinkedIn training on LinkedIn branding. LinkedIn has changed my life. I have people calling me and deals moving right now because of LinkedIn. It's insane, okay? I'm in the boardroom. I'm on the golf course. I'm behind those closed doors talking to business leaders, talking to CEOs, talking to hiring managers, talking to all kinds of people because of LinkedIn. So I'm helping other people do that this Saturday. If you want to sign up for that, let me know, and I'll be posting more information today. If you're trying to get a new job, you want to work from home, you don't want to go back when the Rona's over, you want a remote job, I can help you. You want to move to a new city or state, I can help you. Wouldn't it be nice to have a job before you got there? I can help you. Those are things that are going to be going on. So we'll be talking about that. Yes, the FBI agent is on your phone. That's right. So we're looking forward to all that. Google, find me a husband. That's right. Siri, find me a husband. Google, okay, Google, I need a husband. We're going to help y'all with that. So I'm excited for everybody who signed up. So you guys, we have a lot of great things going on. But today, Lucas Live is not about me. It's about our guest today. And it's about our guest sharing education, motivation, liberation for you all to help you guys be set free. And for your family, friends, and loved ones, we're going to have some difficult conversations so that we can be in better position to help those around us. So without further delay, I want to welcome our guest. I met her online. I believe she made a post on a black business page, and I saw it, and I didn't just think, oh, that's cool, or oh, maybe I should support. I thought, what an awesome story. I want to hear her story. I reached out to her. We talked on the phone. It was even more incredible when I talked to her. I was blown away with her transparency and openness and willingness to share. And I asked if she'd be willing to come on the show, and I'm so glad that she is here today. I'd love to welcome to the show Miss Santoria Sawyer. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Lucas. How are you?
I am wonderful. And I'm very, very, very excited to have you on. From the moment we started talking, I was blown away at your story and your ability to overcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited to be on the show. Like you said today, hopefully we can help somebody out there. This is what I do. It's what I'm passionate about. So I'm super excited and honored.
I think it's going to be great. While it is tough and while the headline is tough, while the post, when people read it, I think they think, wow. I think yesterday I mentioned some things about your story that you're going to share today that I think grabbed people's attention. And I hope that it did. I hope people thought, wow, because for somebody, they think, I've been through that and I'm not alone. Again, somebody else is like, I can't imagine how I would overcome that. I've gone through something. I've gone through something like this over here, and I'm having a hard time overcoming. How did she overcome all of that? So why don't you start by telling us what your general message is to people, and then we'll get into your story.
My general message to people is, adversity is going to happen to us all, guys. Life is not about what happens to you. It's about how you choose to respond to it. And it's funny because, we hear these cliche things like that, right? I'm sure if you're listening to this is not the first time that you've heard that statement. Life is not what happens to you. It's how you respond.
Right.
But like in my situation, and I'm sure in yours, if you really took a moment to really think about that, it is real, guys. If people don't say that quote and share that quote for nothing, it's real and it's very much so applicable. And so overall, that's what I want to get across to people is that, we have a decision to make overall in life. When bad things happen to us, ultimately you have the decision to make. I mean, you can either choose to be knocked down by that situation, or you can choose to keep going. You can choose to use it to fuel you. Some people let their pain cripple them, and some people let their pain catapult them forward in life. And so, but that all starts with a decision. And I talk about that in my book.
I love that. I love that so much. I agree. I try to look at problems in life. I remember thinking as a young person, sometimes it felt like my world was crumbling around me. And I felt like I was like downtown New York and the Empire State Building, all these buildings just crumbled down around me. And I thought, I'm either going to stay buried under the debris of what happened or I'm going to climb out of it and stand on top of that rubble. And now it's like standing on a mountain. And now my
Hmm.
perspective is different. So things that used to look big, like these tall buildings, now look small. Problems that used to look big now look small. Now, before
Yeah.
we get deeper into your story, what is your perspective like in life right now? Being an overcomer of some difficult things, and we'll get into that. What is your perspective like? What do you look at when you have a problem or things are going on? What's your general outlook?
My general outlook on things that are going on is what is this here to teach me, right? What is the problem that's going on? What do I need to learn in this situation? There
Yeah.
has to be a lesson, right? That's number one. Another a huge thing for me too is I'm a believer in Jesus. Like I love me some Jesus, honey. You know, I'm a sophisticated ratchet, so I love me some Jesus. But I can turn up too. You know,
I
I
love
like
it.
my trap
Wait,
music.
wait, 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 wait,
Um,
wait, wait, wait.
but
Hold on, hold on, hold on. I need to wait. We got to catch that word, ladies and gentlemen. And I dare y'all to spell it in the comments. What did you say? Sophisticated. Say that again. Say that one
I'm
more
a
time.
sophisticated ratchet. So I
Sophist.
love me some Jesus. I love to read. I love
I
to
love
write.
it.
I'm a teacher's pet all the way, but
Type
I love me
sophisticated
some
ratchet
trap
in the
music.
comments if you can
Yes.
spell it. Just try it.
Yeah, I'll spell it for you. I'll
All
spell it
right.
for you. Make some t-shirts. Um,
I love it.
but yeah, no. So like I said, another huge philosophy of mine and an outlook on mine is I say these two words to myself, all things. You know, even to my therapist. My therapist, when we speak, she tells me all the time, Centoria, she says, find a promise of God's and hold on to it. Find that promise and hold on to it. For me,
Mhm.
that his promise that I hold on to is Romans 8:28. For
Mm.
we know that
All things.
all
Woo.
things work together for the good of those that love the Lord. So for me,
Yes.
whenever something comes my way, good, bad, ugly, I'm always like all things. I tell myself all the time. I literally have it tattooed
That's
on
awesome.
my arm. All things, all
Wow.
things. And so that's how I view everything that comes my way now. Is this is here to teach me, and at the end of the day, this is gonna work out for me. I don't care
Mm.
how it looks. It's gonna work for me. It's gonna benefit me some way.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. I think that's so important when you can boldly say I love God and you can say, but I ain't perfect, right?
Oh, honey, no.
Like don't get it twisted. I can still turn up. I can still have fun. I think for me in my life right now, it's a place of liberty. It's like, how do we find that balance? Is God like, you can't have any fun? You need to be so stiff and not enjoy your life? I don't think that's true. And I do believe what you said. All things work together for good. All things. Good, the bad, the ugly. And sometimes we're going through things and we're saying, why me? And we're like, why me? Why me? And God is like, there is a why me. Like, first of all, bad things do happen. It's not like God orders it up on the menu and is like, let me send some horrible stuff her way. It's not that every bad thing happens comes from God, but when it happens, God has the ability to take the ingredients that aren't good by themselves and bake something great out of it. So
Yeah.
all things work together for good. To those who love the Lord, we got to love him. You first said you love him. And to those who are called according to his purpose. So that's so, so good. So let's start getting into your story a little bit, and you can walk us through it. Now, I've some people have heard your story. I see some of your people are in here in the comments. Some people who said what's up. I think a cousin said what's up. Somebody else said what's up. There's some new time, first time people. I'm assuming they know you. So we're so glad
Yes.
to have you here. Welcome to Lucas Live again. If it's your first time, we're here Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. Sometimes we have some evening shows at 7 p.m. Eastern as well. Follow us at Lucas Live Media on YouTube and Facebook to stay up to date with everything going on. Santoria, so let's go back. People now realize that you were a victim of abuse. Can you start back and tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up and kind of lead us up to what happened and kind of walk us through your story a bit?
Yes. So I was raised by my mother and my stepfather mostly. Some people, I always like to clarify this. Of course, I have a relationship with my biological father. I'm not speaking of him when I say these things, but he was definitely a part of my life. And some people kind of get it confused because I refer to my stepdad as dad, because that's who I called him growing up. To me, I had two dads. I mean, I was the luckiest girl in the world because I had two dads. I mean, I was going to have two dads walk me down the aisle when I got married. So I was raised mostly in the house with my mother and my stepfather, and then they had three younger children after me. And growing up, my stepfather was very troubled. And I used to feel for him. I mean, I had such a deep empathy for him because of his childhood and the things he had been through in his life, and me just knowing those things. And I always had a deep sense of empathy for him. So because of that, it really it played with my psyche as a young child when I had this such a deep love and affection and empathy for my stepfather when he started to do certain things. Like I remember being really young, and I write this on the back of my book actually. He said something to me when I was very young. He said, "If your mother was still pregnant with you when I got out of prison, I probably would have knocked you out of her stomach." And that's just not something that you want,
Wow.
you want to hear as a child. So that was just like kind of the beginning, was the wordplay, the little bitty
Wow.
things that he would do. And again, I excuse a lot of them because of his mental illness, and I excuse a lot of them because of his troubles and the things that he had been through, and because I knew that I wasn't really supposed to be here. I mean, I was conceived when he went away to prison, and and
Mm.
this was before everything, but I was, so I wasn't supposed to be here according to him.
So I'm sorry to look at this. So your mother, him and your mother were together prior to him going to prison.
They were together,
At
yes.
some point, he goes to prison. Your mother is with your father, your biological
Hmm.
father, gets pregnant, has a child. He comes out of prison, and him and your mom come back together. And now
Yes,
he has to come back and accept the fact that the woman that he was with prior has been with another man and now has a child. And now he's saying to you, if I had come back and your mom was still pregnant, I would have terminated the pregnancy myself
yep,
because I can't stand the fact I that would have been too much for me to stand the fact that she was pregnant by another man.
yes, exactly.
Wow.
And the crazy part about it though is, while I know he was tormented with that thought on the inside, um, you would have never guessed that if we were around as a family, right?
Wow.
He never really showed that until I started getting to, like I said, around the age where the abuse started. But for the most part, I mean, like he taught me how to ride a bike. He taught me
Mm.
how to he taught me how to do most things. I mean, he would be there cooking for us when we came home. He would be there giving us allowance and taking care of us. So
Mm.
for the most part, I mean, he never treated me like an outsider. I
Yeah.
just know that he wrestled with that in his spirit. And demons that go unchecked, psh, they gonna get out some way or the other.
Mm. Shall say
I
that.
firmly believe that that's what happened to him, and that at a certain point he kind of just snapped. And I could tell in his eyes when he was abusing me. I mean, it was just like he wasn't even there.
Mm.
He looked so, it was like he almost looked possessed every
Yeah.
time that he would do it. Like it was
Wow.
just, and especially because afterwards, I mean, he would cry his eyes out and would beg me to pray with him and ask me to do
Wow.
things. Like I remember one time, he loaded a gun, he put it in my hand, and he asked me to kill him. He put it to his head. I was
Wow.
12 years old, and he said, "Please pull the trigger. I have to stop this." And he begged me to pull the trigger, and I was holding a very heavy at the time Smith and Wesson in my hand, and I
Mm.
pulled the trigger. Um, but there's so many theories
Wow.
on that and how victims feel towards their abusers and things like that I
Sure.
won't get into. I'll leave that up to the professionals. But a little bit more about what actually
That
started
is.
happening.
Let me just say, Santoria, that is fascinating. That you overcame something that like that's another layer of trauma, right? Like that is not our normal experience to have someone one who's abusing us. Sometimes we think if there's somebody out there who was abused who thought if I had the opportunity to hurt my abuser or to kill I would have killed him. I thought about it all the time, and they never had that opportunity. You, on the other hand, at 12 years old, at the tender age of 12, that is still such a vulnerable age and vulnerable stage. You're at 12. What's going on. You're not, four. You know what's going on in life, but your brain's not fully developed. Your mindset, you don't really know. And to hand a gun, first of all, to a child that young is a lot, and then to hold it and load it and say, "Kill me." How rationalizing that decision? When you think back about that, are those vivid pictures? What do those moments feel like when you think back to some of those conversations you had with him?
Now, to be honest, I used to say this as a kid too. I think I firmly believe it was God, obviously, that came in and just kind of almost put a shield around me and my heart and my mind and my eyes, because although I knew what was happening, I can't tell you if I didn't write it down, which is how I was able to write my book. If I didn't write it down, I probably would not remember all of the fine details because I almost checked out of the abuse. Like when it was happening, yes, it was painful. Yes, I was there, but it was almost like I just wasn't, my full self wasn't there. Like God took a part of me and put it to the side and preserved it. Like, no, you're not, it's where it's going to stay right here. But it was almost like God took that piece of me and just protected it and put it to the side and was like, no, no, you can't have this, Wow. And so because of that, I don't really get traumatized at the thought of, what he did as much. Maybe it's also because too, like I said, I've done the work of trying to, overcome. But and I know that first couple of years was really rough. Yeah. But also too, and I'll get to this later. Sure. I was extremely effective at coping. I mean, I'm probably the world's best coper.
How? Like, what do you believe? And you started to say earlier, like, it's almost like some of it is a gift from God. Some of it is a shield of protection, and He will cover us, right? God will do that, but it's not always easy. Mm-mm. So was it something innate in you? Did it develop like a callus? What was it like for you to develop that ability to overcome?
It was like a shield, like a callus, and to be very honest, and so that's what my next book that I'm going to be working on is going to be about. See, my book and my story is just about coping. What I've learned in the recent years is that coping and healing are not the same thing. Okay. So I'm on a journey now that I just started probably about a year ago. A year ago in May to heal. Up until this point in my life, I haven't been thriving. I've been surviving, right? I am a survivalist. I take something, I see something bad happens to me, and I don't heal from it necessarily. And so what'll happen is instead of healing from it, I'll find something to hold on to grasp onto and say, you know what? Nope. I'm going to focus on this. And that's what I did most of my childhood. So like education, right? If you see the book, the trailer for my book, I said education saved my life because it did. That's all I did. I focused on school. I wanted to be the best in school. I had a goal. I was like, I'm going to graduate number 1 in my class. And that's what I did. I was like, Ohio State's going to pay me to go to school. That's what they did. And so I focused all of my time and energy into being that successful person because I looked at success as a coping mechanism, which you see so many people doing today. The problem with that is it's very lonely at the top. And so when you start getting all this success and you're winning, if you're not happy with the person that you are and you haven't dealt with those inner demons, they're going to talk to you at some point. And so you're going to have to deal with them, and so wow. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. I teach coping to young kids. Okay. But I encourage adults to heal. There is a difference because coping is a very effective mechanism to me for overcoming childhood adversity. Okay. It's very hard to teach healing to a young child. I don't think they understand healing is a dirty business. And to me, it's something you do when you're an adult because unfortunately trying to heal as a child in the environments that we are raised in that are often the ones that are traumatizing us is very difficult to do.
Wow.
So when I meet with kids, I try to teach coping and I try to teach them how to focus on something, honey. Keep going. I promise you, it gets better at the end of the day. Yes. And so, like I said, so for me, my next book that I'm writing is actually interesting. It's that space between coping and healing. Because what a lot of people don't know about me is that I coped all the way up to college, right? I graduated from Ohio State University after everything that had happened to me, went through all this pain. That most people, and I had never went to therapy for it. I mean, never. All of those years, never went to therapy for it. Graduated college and instantly hit a deep depression. It was almost like, now what? See,
because you coped through education. You said to yourself, and so coping is holding it together through the storm. Coping is there's a tornado, I'm in my basement, we gonna cope. Coping is we couldn't afford the electric bill, we're gonna figure out a way. When I was young, our gas got turned off and we figured out a way. Well, you gotta heat up water to have a bath, and you gotta heat up water to wash the dishes, and you gotta use an electric skillet. That's a coping mechanism. It's an ability to get through a difficult situation, and as humans, we are innately created to cope. However, you seem to have a supernatural ability to cope. But even through coping and then using education, you said Ohio State's going to pay me to come to their school, which is amazing. It's a prestigious university. Those of us from Ohio don't realize how amazing Ohio State is. I'm like Ohio State hat on now. We're fans, but we don't know. So you use that to cope. But at some point, even when the storm is over, we got to climb out of the basement through the rubble and start rebuilding our homes, rebuilding our lives, right? Like I've coped from the tornado, but now that the tornado has torn my house down and torn my life up, I got to come out and start healing and rebuilding. So you said once you got through your education, you were facing that. So pick up the story there again.
So facing that, after I got through, when I graduated college, like I said, I hit a now what time in my life, right? I thought success was as a child, I thought success and graduation and education was my ticket. And even people who haven't been through deep trauma, a lot of us will find that at the end of our college experience, you get a lot of this. I mean, I speak to a lot of post grads and recent graduates that tell me the same thing. They tell me like, well, Santori, I don't know. We hit college and it's not what you expected it to be. And I think it's not what you expect it to be in a financial and a career wise or a job market wise, but it's also not what you expect it to be as you start to walk into adulthood. You really got to face those things. College is like a bridge to your adulthood. If you go, it's So for me, I hit a deep depression after that. My sister died my senior year of college. So we were dealing with that because I had just met this sister. We had just met over Facebook. We had been planning to meet up in person. And she had just had a baby who, by the way, looks just like me. It's so crazy. And so when we connected over social media, and then she just passed away suddenly my senior year of college when she was also supposed to graduate. That was something I was dealing with, but then also too dealing with, like I said, the fact that when college ended, right around that same time, college ended, 5 months after that. I was like, what the heck do I do now? And then I was just forced to look at myself. I didn't have class to distract me. I didn't have a million different community events that I was going to. I didn't have a million different clubs and organizations I was a part of. I didn't have homework. I didn't have all those things to distract me from dealing and from looking myself in the mirror and dealing with myself and my internal issues. So that's what this next book is about. It's called Nevertheless. And it's literally like, broken crayons still color. Nevertheless, like you still got some work to do. Like this is nevertheless, like broken is not as awesome as it seems. The world idealizes broken. It's funny. We have, there's lipsticks named broken. There are like, I see different people idealize the idea of being broken.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, there's so many, it's so much better on the other side. But wow. I'm not going to go down that road.
I love it.
That's the next level.
I love it though. So let's get into some of the details, if you will, what you're comfortable sharing about your story. Then to help us tie it into what the book is about, it's the book telling the story. And then also let's keep talking about, what's coming in the next book, because what I see you doing is taking us on your journey to help us heal from our journey, right? Mm-hmm. It sounds like you've climbed the mountain and now you're coming back down to say broken crayons, broken people can still have success. Broken crayons still color. And let's not just continue to identify as broken people. Let's get healing. And nevertheless, there's more to do. As I would say, we have more to do. So, if you could, I think our audience has some idea that there was a level of abuse. Can you tell us kind of how things started and kind of some of the things that were going on in your life and kind of how old you were at the time?
Yeah, so when I was 12 years old, I'll never forget the first day it started. I actually I got my bus ID taken away from me because I let my cousin try to use it to get on the bus. And so they took it because they realized it wasn't hers. It was like against the rules at school to do that. So I needed $5 to get a new one. And I remember I was so mad at that bus driver after this. Like, why would you take my bus ID? I was just trying to help my cousin get home. But he took my bus ID and I had to go home and ask my stepdad for $5 to get a new one. And I remember he was like, I'm usually upset about that. I was like, it's $5. Like I'm a straight A student. I never cause any trouble. You never have issues with me ever. I'm literally, I walk around on pins and needles around you because I'm afraid of you, to be honest. And so I remember when I came home and asked him for that, he was unusually upset. He ended up leaving to go run an errand. He came back, and I remember that day, like when everybody was asleep, he told me like I was in trouble when he got home. So when you're a kid, especially in a black family, when you're a child and your parents tell you in trouble when they get home, honey, you just whoop me now. Just beat me now, please. Let's get this over with. So the whole time I see the belt at the end of the bed, I'm sitting there biting my nails, just waiting, thinking I'm about to get about to get you know. But I was like literally terrified. So he told me I was in trouble when he got home, and I just remember thinking it was gonna be a normal day, a normal like, okay, he's gonna get on me about this. Well, he ended up when he came home, he didn't grab the belt. We were in the room, walked to him and my mom's room. The belt was at the end of the bed. He didn't grab the belt, and he ended up telling me to come downstairs. Everybody was asleep. It was really dark in the house. He said, "Come downstairs." And when I came downstairs, he just looked and stared at me. He told me to turn around. He looked and stared at me. He told me to come here. He looked, stared at me. Told me to turn around, put his hands on my hips. Just looked and stared at me. Then he told me, he touched me with my clothes on. And then after that, he told me to turn around. I was terrified. Obviously I was shaking, terrified. And I just remember kept saying, "What are you doing? Like, what's going on?" And he basically told me, like, in that moment, like, if you ever say anything to anybody about this, I will kill you. Wow. And when he did it, he had that same Smith & Wesson loaded sitting every time something happened. He had it sitting on a white towel on the couch covered up because he wanted me to know, like, I will kill you if you say anything. So I didn't know what the heck happened, but he gave me like $20. I remember it was more money because I always felt strange afterwards when he would give me money. So now I associate. I'll go into that later. But like I said,
so
it's very
so
strange.
did you know when he was looking at you and telling you to turn around, and then he put his hands on your hips? How old were you at the time?
12.
You're 12 years old. Did you get a sense for what was about to happen? Did you have any idea? Do you remember that?
I would have never guessed it would have go to full blown abuse. But I wasn't unfamiliar to what was going on because, and again, this is something I didn't share in my book or haven't talked about most, but it wasn't the first time I experienced some type of sexual assault, right? I use the word assault lightly because it was all weird experiences. It wasn't like an adult never physically assaulted me. He was the first adult, but I did have awkward experiences with like a teenage boy one time where I was 4 years old. So I knew what was going on.
Interesting.
Like, I knew what sex was at the time, So yeah, I just had no idea it would blow up to full blown assault. So that was the first day. That went on for probably the first 2 or 3 times, right?
So was this spaced out? Was this like you were in trouble, or after that it had nothing? There was no rhyme or reason to it, or
there was no rhyme or reason after that. No rhyme or reason. Again, I was a great kid. I mean, I was a great kid. I was probably every parent's dream as a child. Like, I did my chores, I cleaned up, I went to school, I was a teacher's pet. Everybody raved about me. I was getting awards at a young age. I mean, people loved. I really did love school, and so I was a good kid. And so I just remember, like, after that day, it just happened for no rhyme or reason. And sometimes it would happen, like, back to back. But he would do it every morning before my mom went to work. Some mornings he never came and got me from my room, but many mornings he did. And so it started off with just touching and feeling. Then it turned into take your clothes off. Then it turned into oral sex. And then it turned into trying to penetrate me. And so it progressed very quickly.
Wow.
And then it went on for 10 months.
That is incredibly ladies and gentlemen who are watching the show here, whether you're watching live or by replay, we understand this is a very sensitive subject, and someone out there, this may be triggering some things. We want to make sure that you do seek help if you're having issues with this, that you do seek help with counseling, that you do talk to your pastors and local community leaders, that you talk to your family and those that you trust, close friends, someone who can help you start to progress to a road of healing. It is so important that we get help and that we get healing. And the first step may just be admitting it to one person so that you can then admit it to others that can help you. And I'm not saying you have to tell your whole story as Centauria is so bold and brave to do today. I'm not saying that's everybody's calling, but you need healing, and burying it doesn't allow us to truly heal. So sadly, so many people are stuffing this. Sadly, so many, especially women in our society, have gone through this and gone through things like this, whether it was at a young age, whether it was date rape, whether it was college, whether it was something, and you're still hurting. And it's not, and I think I said this in one of the comments. I'm a big advocate for women smiling. Men always say smile. I say to a single woman, you should, when you smile, you tell people that you're approachable, whether it's a job interview or whether you're meeting new people or whether you're going out and hanging out with your friends. Smiling is a pleasant thing to do. But I realize some of you struggle to smile because of the weight of the pain that nobody even knows about or few people know about. It's hard to smile when you haven't healed, when you're still coping, you're still just making it, you're still just trudging along one day at a time, and you seem normal and you're doing all right and you're paying your bills and you're a good mom and you're good, but you're broken and you're hurting and you need healing. We want you to get healing today. I pray today that someone would find healing in this story, that someone would find the boldness to step up and step out and say, this happened to me. I need some help. I have to heal. I will not allow my past to dictate my future. I will not allow it to stop me from being the great person that I'm supposed to be. Centauria, your message is resonating with so many people. There's people are saying how strong you are. There are people with tears in the comments and hearts and love. You are truly, truly, truly making an impact here on the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, I also said, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube, you may have an organization and you need a speaker like this. Centauria is a speaker. She will travel. She will talk. I know right now with Corona, maybe there's not so much. Look, she's here virtually. She can show up virtually to your women's group, to your men's group, to your youth group, to your business, to your conference. Stories like hers need to be told. It can't just be told here on Lucas Live. It has to go further. So I ask that you guys support her. Also, real quick, at centauriaspeaks.com, was that where they can get a copy of your first book?
It is. They can do it on Amazon, but if they want a signed copy, they can get it at www.centauriaspeaks.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, and we're not done here with Centauria and her sharing her story, but I want you guys to order her book today. I want you to make a note, write it down. Let's support her. It's nice when people give us something. She's giving us something today. She's giving of herself today. Can we give back to her? Can we reach out to her? Can we follow her, connect her, and let's support her business? Let's support her business. Let's buy her book and let's get signed up and get ready when the next book comes out and be ready to support her and her work. So Centauria, you said this went on for 10 months. This went on several mornings before your mom woke up. Did you ever think that your mom knew, or do you now know that she did know? What was that like, being a victim in your own home, not feeling safe in your own house?
Well, it's very interesting. Well, my mom, I definitely don't think she knew. My mom, I know she didn't know. How about that? I'll say that. There's no way she could have known. And I tried in little ways to cry out for help, right? Where it was like, but I couldn't. I was so terrified that he would hurt her, because there was some domestic violence in my home growing up. So, and we always came back. So I always thought to myself, well, I can't tell my mom because then he'll really hurt all of us. He'll kill us all. She can't stop him. And then, like I said, I had although I had a relationship with my biological father and I love him dearly. And, we have a much better relationship today. I had a complicated relationship with him at that time in my life as a young girl. And so I was scared to tell him. So and then I knew my biological father, that's like his biggest, he cannot stand pedophiles. Like if he could burn them all at the stake, he would. That's how it's a big, and it should be a pet peeve of all of ours. I mean, it should be it should be very problematic to all of us. But, for him, if I would have told him that, he would have responded in anger. and there would have been no there would have been no
Santori, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure that the broadcast is still going. I think we're okay. Pause. Can you guys hear us? You guys let us know if you guys can still hear us. I think the sound may have switched. It would be on my end, Santori. I'm sorry if this
okay.
stopped. Okay, we're back on. Okay, you guys can still hear us. All right. Okay. I think we're good. All right. Great, 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 great. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. Did it just pause and it came back on, guys, or did the broadcast go off all the way, or what happened? I just want to know. Okay, we're glad we're back, and I'm glad it's good. That's some ish. That's my end on my computer. I hope everything goes. If for any reason this broadcast is interrupted, I promise we'll bring Santoria back and we will finish this episode. If anything goes wrong, here it paused. Okay, so hopefully we're good. My computer is having some power issues at the moment, but I want to make sure we're good. Again, if this is interrupted and we're